but we also know something about George Bush the leader. As we walk through this library, obviously we're reminded of the incredible strength and resolve that came through that bullhorn as he stood amid the rubble and the ruins of Ground Zero. Promising to deliver justice to those who had sought to destroy our way of life. We remember the compassion that he showed by leading the global fight against HIV/AIDS and malaria. Helping to save millions of lives and reminding people in some of the poorest corners of the globe that America cares and that we're here to help. We remember his commitment to reaching across the aisle to unlikely allies like Ted Kennedy. Because he believed that we had to reform our schools in ways that help every child learn, not just some. That we have to repair a broken immigration system, and that this progress is only possible when we do it together. "7 years ago, President Bush restarted an important conversation by speaking with the American people about our history as a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. And even though comprehensive immigration reform has taken a little longer than any of us expected, I am hopeful that this year, with the help of Speaker Boner and some of the senators and members of Congress who are here today, that we bring it home for our families. And our economy, and our security, and for this incredible country that we love. And if we do that, it will be in large part thanks to all the hard work of President George W. Bush. And finally, a president bears no greater decision and no more solemn burden than serving as commander-in-chief of the greatest military that the world has ever known. as President Bush himself has said. America must and will keep its word to the men and women who have given us so much. So even as we Americans may at times disagree on matters of foreign policy, we share a profound respect and reverence for the men and women of our military and their families. And we are united in our determination to comfort the families of the fallen and to care for those who wear the uniform of the United States. On the flight back from Russia, after negotiating with Nikita Khrushchev at the height of the Cold War, President Kennedy's secretary found a small slip of paper. On which the president had written a favorite saying, "I know there is a God." And I see a storm coming. If he has a place for me, I believe I am ready. No one can be completely ready for this office. But America needs leaders who are willing to face the storm head on. Even as they pray for God's strength and wisdom so that they can do what they believe is right. And that's what the leaders with whom I share the stage have all done. That's what President George W. Bush chose to do. That's why I'm honored to be part of today's celebration. Mr. President, for your service, for your courage, for your sense of humor. And, most of all, for your love of country. Thank you very much. From all the citizens of the United States of America, God bless you. And God bless these United States. Barack Obama. Address at Hankook University. Delivered March 26, 2012, Seoul, Korea. Thank you very much. To President Park, faculty, staff, and students, thank you so much for this very warm welcome. It is a great honor to be here at Hankook University of Foreign Studies. I want to thank Dr. Park for a few moments ago, making me an honorary alumni of the university. I know that this school has one of the world's finest foreign language programs, which means that your English is much better than my Korean. All I can say is, 감사합니다. Now, this is my third visit to the Republic of Korea as president. I've now been to Seoul more times than any other capital except for Washington, D.C. Of course. This reflects the extraordinary bonds between our two countries and our commitment to each other. I'm pleased that we're joined by so many leaders here today. Koreans and Americans, who help keep us free and strong and prosperous every day. That includes our first Korean American ambassador to the Republic of Korea, Ambassador Sung Kim. I've seen the deep connections between our peoples in my own life among friends, colleagues. I've seen it so many patriotic Korean Americans, including a man born in the city of Seoul. Who came to America and has dedicated his life to lifting up the poor and sick of the world. And last week I was proud to nominate him to lead the World Bank, Dr. Jim Yong Kim. I've also seen the bonds in our men and women in uniform. like the American and Korean troops I visited yesterday along the DMZ Freedom's frontier. And we salute their service and are very grateful for them. We honor all those who have given their lives in our defense. Including the 46 brave souls who perished aboard the Cheonan 2 years ago today. And in their memory we reaffirm the enduring promise at the core of our alliance: we stand together. And the commitment of the United States to the defense and the security of the Republic of Korea will never waver. Most of all, I see the strength of our alliance in all of you. For decades, this school has produced leaders, public servants, diplomats, business people who've helped propel the modern miracle that is Korea, transforming it from crushing poverty to one of the world's most dynamic economies. From authoritarianism to a thriving democracy, from a country focused inward to a leader. For security and prosperity not only in this region but also around the world, a truly global Korea. So to all the students here today, this is the Korea your generation will inherit. And I believe there's no limits to what our two nations can achieve together. For like your parents and grandparents before you, you know that the future is what we make of it. And you know that in our digital age, we can connect and innovate across borders. Like never before with your smartphones and Twitter and Me Today and Kakao Talk. It's no wonder so many people around the world have caught the Korean wave, Hallyu. Or consider this, in advance of my visit. Our embassy invited Koreans to send us your questions using social media. Some of you may have sent questions. And they called it, Ask President Obama. Now, one of you, maybe it was you, maybe it was somebody else, this is true, ask this question. Have you posted, yourself, a supportive opinion on a website under a disguised name? Pretending you are one of the supporters of President Obama. I hadn't thought of this. But the truth is, I have not done this. Maybe my daughters have. But I haven't done that myself. So our shared future and the unprecedented opportunity to meet shared challenges together is what brings me to Seoul. Over the next 2 days, under President Lee's leadership, we'll move ahead with the urgent work of preventing nuclear terrorism by securing the world's nuclear materials. This is an important part of the broader comprehensive agenda that I want to talk with you about today, our vision of a world without nuclear weapons. Three years ago, I traveled to Prague and I declared America's commitment to stopping the spread of nuclear weapons and to seeking a world without them. I said I knew that this goal would not be reached quickly. Perhaps not in my lifetime, but I knew we had to begin, with concrete steps. And in your generation, I see the spirit we need in this endeavor. And optimism that beats in the hearts of so many young people around the world. It's that refusal to accept the world as it is, the imagination to see the world as it ought to be. And the courage to turn that vision into reality. So today, with you, I want to take stock of our journey and chart our next steps. Here in Seoul, more than 50 nations will mark our progress toward the goal we set at. The summit I hosted 2 years ago in Washington, securing the world's vulnerable. Nuclear materials in 4 years so that they never fall into the hands of terrorists. And since then, nations including the United States have boosted security at nuclear facilities. South Korea, Japan, Pakistan, and others are building new centers to improve nuclear security and training. Nations like Kazakhstan have moved nuclear materials to more secure locations. Mexico, and just yesterday Ukraine. Have joined the ranks of nations that have removed all the highly enriched uranium from their territory. All told, thousands of pounds of nuclear material have been removed from vulnerable sites around the world. This was deadly material that is now secure and can now never be used against a city like Seoul. We're also using every tool at our disposal to break up black markets and nuclear material. Countries like Georgia and Moldova have seized highly enriched uranium from smugglers. And countries like Jordan are building their own counter-smuggling teams. And we're tying them together in a global network of intelligence and law enforcement. Nearly 20 nations have now ratified the treaties and international partnerships that are at the center of our efforts. And I should add that with the death of Osama bin Laden and the major blows that we've struck against Al-Qaeda, a terrorist organization that has actively sought nuclear weapons is now on the path to defeat.